Hello, I'm Billy Compton, Executive Associate for the Cooperative Program and Resources at the Kentucky Baptist Convention. It's my privilege this morning to welcome President of our Kentucky Baptist Convention, Dr. Floyd Paris. We're going to talk about something that the convention asked us to do because of our concern for impacting missions around the world. It's called More for Christ. And Floyd, glad to have you this morning.
Glad to be
Let
here.
me ask you to put in your words, what is More for Christ as you understand it?
Well, More for Christ is that, should be that call that every Christian answers every morning. I mean, to wake up every morning and say, Lord, what can I do for you more today? I think it means more time in devotion. I think it means more time in prayer. I think it means more time in service. It means more in giving. How can I do more for Christ after all the things He's done for us? More for Christ ought to be the bell that we answer every morning. More for Christ.
Well, it's certainly a good theme, and it raises the awareness for all of us to recognize that probably our relationship with Christ is a growing process, and hopefully it captures more and more of us. And you have answered this to some extent, but let me just ask you personally, what impact do you see? And I know you've thought through this because you've had ideas about how to get others involved and getting your church involved. Personally, what impact do you see More for Christ having on you?
Well, for me, when I began to pray for More for Christ, I said, Lord, what more can I do as a Christian, as a pastor? And for me personally, I have noticed I've extended my prayer time in the morning, my devotion time, but I've also increased in what I'm doing. I now have 2 Master Life groups that I'm leading, one at 4:30 on Sunday afternoon and one at 9 o'clock on Sunday night for college and career, and that goes to about 11:30 on Sunday night. But more ministries. But it also means more of me personally, to visit more, to talk with people more, to spend more of everything that I have in service of my Lord.
Yeah. Well, now the younger folks who watch us talking about this probably won't know who Vance Havner was, but I know you'll know who. But
Yes.
I read once that was a convicting thing for me, and for me it relates practically to what we've said about More for Christ, because you just touched on it about spending more time with God in prayer and His Word, and just for your own personal growth. That Vance Havner once said, if you don't come apart, you'll come apart.
That's right.
So I think it's important for us to say to folks that More for Christ is giving more time, but it's giving more directed time in our spiritual preparation to impact the lives around us. And obviously that's something that you're doing personally, if you're doing Master Life and those things. That leads me to another question to ask. For you as a pastor, and for you personally, you know what that means. Obviously, you have a bigger picture of what that means for us as a convention, and encouraging, hopefully motivating other individuals and churches to be involved in More for Christ. What would be some specific things, maybe on a practical, real life level, maybe other than what you've mentioned, that you could say to an individual? Just say to me, here's what you can do to be involved in More for Christ.
Well, certainly More for Christ, in addition to the things I've already said.
Right.
You need to pray more, you need to serve more. But there's some practical things.
Okay.
Right now, we have more missionaries in the Southern Baptist Convention who want to go on the mission field than we can afford to send. If we can give $3 more a week through our local church, just $3. Now, some say, well, that's not much, but think about it. If you would sacrifice one Starbucks coffee, one Happy Meal during the course of the week.
Grater's ice cream for me.
Yeah, Grater's ice cream, just one of those, okay? The impact of, let's say that 100,000 Kentuckians every week would give $3 more. That would mean there would be $15 million given in our local church, more than was given last year. in the local ministries that your church is doing. That means more bus kids are brought into your local church. Your church buys more tracts. It also means that it will trickle down. It'll also mean more for the cooperative program, which means your church is going to help send more missionaries to the foreign field. Your church is going to help support more North American missionaries. Your church is going to help more across every ministry of the Kentucky Baptist Convention. And it starts with you just willing to give just $3 more each week.
Well, I would say that's a great way, just kind of listening to you and your passion for that, obviously, to realize that our participation would greatly impact the individual, the church, the state, North America, and the nations. Just $3 more. You know, not only that, I think something you said there seems significant to me, and that is the multiplying effect. You know, enthusiasm's contagious. And you know, spiritual enthusiasm, we know that from our, you know, studying the New Testament, the book of Acts, can be very contagious. And obviously, you having birthed just that idea in your heart in private, sharing it publicly could tremendously impact it. So that's a good word, I think, for individuals, just to, in a very practical way, to do something.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, a lot of people say, well, I'm committed to give to the local church, but I can't give to foreign missions. Well, the thing is, in the Great Commission, the Lord challenged us to do all of those things. We are to reach our local area. We're to reach our state, our country, and our world. And my $3 can't do that alone.
Right.
But with my $3 and your $3 and the $3 of everyone across the state, then we can reach here in my home in Ashland, Kentucky, here in Louisville where you live now, in Severance Valley, in Paducah, in West Kentucky, in South Kentucky, and Central Kentucky, and all around the world. And it's because we come together. We can do more together than any one of us can by ourselves.
Lord, I thank you for investing your time, your creative thinking, your thoughts, your energy as our president. And obviously, what we pray is that more will catch the vision of doing more for Christ.
You can find more details and inspirational stories about others who have also made this commitment online at www.moreforchrist.com. I encourage you to visit the site and be in prayer about ways that you can do more for Christ. Thank you.